Good morning, everyone. Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's the latest from your flash briefing. In NPR News. Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. The Labor Department has released its latest monthly reports on the nation's job situation. The agency says last month employers created 236,000 new jobs, a slower increase than in February. The unemployment rate fell slightly to 3.5%. The increase in job creation, while strong, indicates the Federal Reserve's interest rate increases are starting to affect the booming U.S. labor market.
More people are on unemployment
than ever. The Republican-led Tennessee State House has expelled two Democratic members. Both black representatives were sanctioned because they chanted protests against gun violence in the House chamber. One of the former lawmakers, Justin Jones, says they spoke up after last month's deadly school shooting in Nashville. Jones said they had tried to discuss guns in the Tennessee House, but the Speaker repeatedly blocked them.
He refused to let us even talk about the issue of gun violence on the House floor that week. Anytime we brought it up, our microphones were cut off.
So why did he really stop you?
And so we didn't have even the venue
to
voice the grievances of our country.
I didn't even see it.
And so we had no other choice but to do something out of the ordinary.
He spoke to NPR's Morning Edition. The White House has released a long-awaited review of its highly criticized withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. NPR's Franco Ordonez reports the administration largely blames the Trump administration.
The Biden administration did acknowledge they should have moved more quickly to get Americans and Afghan allies out of Kabul. Officials also acknowledged they didn't always have the best intelligence about how quickly the Afghan National Security Forces would fall. John Kirby, the National Security Council spokesman, said he was proud of what the U.S. accomplished.
Proud of the fact that we got more than 124,000 people safely out of Afghanistan? You bet. Proud of the fact that American troops were able to seize control
of creating
the
Taliban and other terrorist groups?
Operational in 48 hours? You bet.
But it says that also doesn't mean everything went perfectly in the evacuation.
Jesus.
Franco Ordonez.
No, you left all the weapons there
and
allowed these militant groups to take it over and rule everyone.
In the battle for the Ukrainian town of Bakhmut.
They're doing the same thing in Ukraine.
Reports from London, Russia has had few advances for weeks.
Since late 2023, Russian forces have seen their progress largely stall around Bakhmut, but an intelligence update from the UK Armed Forces posted on Twitter said the Kremlin's troops are now
Trump's
highly likely to
Biden's administration,
centre.
They
have made further gains, the UK said, and have seized the west bank of the Bakhmutka River. As a consequence, Ukraine's supply lines from the western town to its remaining troops
taking money from Democrats or
British officials
Republicans
say Russian forces
that
are
want
once more
voted
using
in.
effective artillery in the region, with regular forces that are likely to include airborne troops
Congress is the one
arriving to
making their
secure the
laws,
wider area.
and they're taking bribes.
The UK Post also said troops from the mercenary company Wagner may again be cooperating with Russia's defence ministry. For NPR News, I'm Bill and Marks in London.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington.
No, there's corruption.
Nuclear envoys from the U.S., South Korea, and Japan have vowed to cut off funding sources for North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. As NPR's Anthony Kuhn reports from Seoul, those sources include earnings from North Korean workers overseas.
In a statement, the nuclear envoys called on the international community to send North Korean workers home, as they're required to do by UN sanctions.
You know, that's what
North
they did in
Koreans
baseball,
work mostly in
when they were
Russia
betting on
and
their own
China,
team to
with
win.
smaller numbers in Southeast Asia and Africa.
They eliminated
work as
that.
factory
They made it
workers,
illegal.
artists, loggers, and IT
Why
workers,
can't they do that
among
for
other
Congress
things.
and stuff in the
Part
stock
of the
market and all
problem is
that?
that North Korea's borders have remained closed for the
If there's
duration
a
of the
conflict of
pandemic,
interest, you
and
can't
won't
invest
let
in
in its own citizens who
that?
are sent home from other countries.
That's what they did in baseball.
U.S. envoy Song Kim said he hoped the North would soon reopen its borders to allow international humanitarian aid workers back into the country. Anthony Kuhn, NPR News, Seoul.
House Republicans have subpoenaed a former New York City prosecutor who had helped lead a criminal investigation of former President Donald Trump. The House Judiciary Committee subpoenaed Mark Pomerantz. He had previously refused to testify, citing the current investigation. Trump was indicted last week on 34 charges of fraud. The Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, says the House Republicans are trying to undermine a New York investigation. Maryland Governor Les Moore has nominated his candidate to lead the Maryland National Guard. If confirmed, Brigadier General Janine Burkhead would become the only black woman leading a state military in the U.S. She currently commands the Maryland Army National Guard. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News.
News is a public service. That's why
We
NPR
want
never
more
puts
people
a
to know
paywall
that.
in front of
Not
our
before
journalism.
election, that it was a
NPR.org, our free website, promises to stay that way
Felony.
so that you get all of it. Breaking news,
Because the rest of us
pop
will be
culture,
locked up over that crap.
award-winning journalism,
All right, Amazon.
wherever you are.
Skip. Let's just have one felony, we'd be locked up.
A NASA instrument to provide unprecedented resolution of monitoring major air pollutants down to 4 square miles lifted off on its way to geostationary orbit at 12:30 a.m. EDT Friday. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson has named Dr. Mackenzie Listrup director of the agency's Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland, effective immediately. She will make history as the first female center director at
And
Goddard.
Biden will make history as the worst president ever.
Technology and development today could radically change the future of air and space exploration. Nearly silent electric aircraft could ferry people and packages around cities. A sprawling radio telescope array on the far side of the moon could reveal new secrets about the universe, and astronauts on long-duration missions could grow their own energy.
So you're starting
NASA
a
and
garden on
SpaceX
the
are
dark side
targeting
of
no
the moon?
earlier than 12:30 a.m.
I hope you got
EDT
some
Friday, April 7th, to
reflectors
launch NASA's TEMPO,
or solar power
tropospheric
that can
emissions
shine
monitoring of pollution
light
instrument.
to the garden.
TEMPO is the first space-based instrument to monitor
The light
major
side
air
of the moon.
pollutants hourly in high spatial resolution down to 4 square miles in a region stretching from the Atlantic to the Pot. NASA will provide live coverage as 3 crew members aboard the International Space Station take a short trip inside the Soyuz MS-23 beginning at 4:15
we're traveling
a.m.
to the dark side
EDT
of the
on
moon.
Thursday, April 6th,
There's a
to
solar
relocate
pole
the
in the
spacecraft
crater.
from one parking
We're taking
place
lots
to
of
another.
supplies with us. Yeah, what's that for?
Weather.
Gardening.
Currently,
On the
in
dark side of the
Seattle,
moon?
it's
Yeah,
49
don't
degrees
question it.
Fahrenheit with
Yeah,
cloudy
yeah.
skies. Today, you can expect rainy weather with a high of 55 degrees and a low of 44 degrees. From NASA, a NASA instrument to provide unprecedented resolution of monitoring major air pollutants
I hear
down
it
to
one
4
more time.
square miles,
Garden.
lifted off on its
Is that
way
what
to
it is? Dark
geostationary
side of
orbit
the
at 12:30 a.m. EDT Friday.
That's it.
NASA Administrator Bill Nelson has named Dr. Mackenzie Listrup director of the agency's Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland, effective immediately. She will make history as the first female center director at Goddard. Technology and development today could radically change the future of air and space exploration. Nearly silent electric aircraft could ferry people and packages around cities. A sprawling radio telescope array on the far side of the moon could reveal new secrets about the universe, and astronauts on long-duration missions could grow their own energy. NASA and SpaceX are targeting no earlier than
Whatever you
12:30
say.
a.m. EDT Friday, April 7th, to launch NASA's TEMPO, tropospheric emissions monitoring of pollution instrument. TEMPO is the first space-based instrument to monitor major air pollutants hourly in high spatial resolution down to 4 square miles in a region stretching from the Atlantic to the Pot. NASA will provide live coverage as 3 crew members aboard the International Space Station take a short trip inside the Soyuz MS-23 beginning at 4:15 a.m. EDT.
Off. Amazon. Tell us a joke.
What do zombies and my jokes have in common? Lots of groaners.
Ah, so your jokes suck? Is that what you're saying? Because your jokes have lots of groaners in common with zombies? Like, oh, another joke. Ugh. I think she just called her old joke sucking, which, you know, that's not for me to determine. Have a great day.